comes the devil. Oh, here comes the devil. Oh, here comes the devil.
Oh, the devil with the devil, says I.
Shh, look out for the devil. Look out for the devil. Look out for the devil.
Oh, the devil with the devil, says I. You're so afraid of old man Satan, now why don't you stop your hesitating? You're gonna be a long time dead, so the devil with the devil, says I. You're always giving me the dickens, telling me that life's no easy pickings. But just as long as I have fun, why, the devil with the devil, says I. You can have your social teas and bingo for your fun, but the things I like to do, you stop me one by one. Now even if you make me stronger, that ain't gonna make me live no longer. So even if I go to shh, the devil with the devil, says I.
Look out for the devil, look out for the devil.
Oh, the devil with the devil, says I.
Here comes the devil. Oh, here comes the devil. Oh, here comes the devil.
Oh, the devil with the devil, says I.
Shh, look out for the devil. Look out for the devil. Look out for the devil.
Oh, the devil with the devil, says I. You're so afraid of old man Satan, now why don't you stop your hesitating? You're gonna be a long time dead, so the devil with the devil, says I. You're always giving me the dickens, telling me that life's no easy pickings. But just as long as I have fun, why, the devil with the devil, says I. You can have your social teas and bingo for your fun, but the things I like to do, you stop me one by one. Now even if you make me stronger, that ain't gonna make me live no longer. So even if I go to shh, the devil with the devil, says.
Chris is going to be here soon. No worries. In the meantime, welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. British Israelism, Freemasonry, Zionism, and the Great Delusion. What a topic. I even have my glasses ready. Of course, a topic that you can also find in my latest book. This one, dedicated to the rise and fall of a Frankist monster, the most exposing Jeffrey Epstein, and the most powerful Jewish sect in the world. The only book that really gives you an anthropological, historical background, religious background behind Jeffrey Epstein. This week we had the video that was played regarding a little St. James. Quite ominous video. What a place. What a place. What was that dental setup? They say he had established it for one of these girls who was studying dentistry. Do you believe in such BS? I mean, who puts in his dentistry setup these masks on the wall? And they look like really weird. I have published an article regarding all this, connecting it also to an old favorite of mine, a movie that some of you may remember, the Marathon Man. Here is the article. If you haven't read it already, new evidence shows Epstein might be using dentists to torture and mind control the most rebellious girls, because some girls even attempted to swim out of the island, and it's filled with sharks, and it's pretty cold, the water. So they risk their lives. But what about this mask? Seems kind of a familiar figure, always in the Sabbatean Frankist context.
Are you being creepy by yourself?
Yes, I am. Yes, I was talking about my article.
Hi, guys.
Are you arriving?
I had to pee and I had stage fright.
Okay. So, but you are Marathon
I'm
Man. Yes, not the Marathon.
I'm here. I
Marathon.
made it. Oh, I had to pee.
Okay, Christy,
And I was
welcome.
doing my makeup in the dark in my room.
Okay, have you finally sorted everything out?
Yeah.
So,
I couldn't pee. I had stage fright.
okay, no worries. Here we were indulging on my latest article, of course, also based on my book. Welcome, everybody. Today we will be touching on a very particular subject, which is very rarely discussed. Why? Because British Israelism is not something that people really talk about. It was, let's say, particularly relevant in the 19th century.
Are you starting? Is that you didn't thank the sponsors?
Okay, let's thank the sponsors then.
You have to.
Okay, let's thank the sponsors then. Christy.
Thank you, everybody, for buying the books. And thank you, Daniel. And thank you, Mal, Grazad, and Minsa. You guys are great. Okay, that's all. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Christy, for this, because it's important. Without the sponsors, we can't.
You
really...
have a protocol. You need to follow it.
Absolutely. And we want to also thank the people who have purchased this book. This book has been #1 in the history of Israelism, not British Israelism. And it's been also #1 in espionage accounts, biographies, whatnot, many other sections on Amazon. Let's keep it that way. And today we have an announcement, guys. This book is going to stay at the present price, which is, Christy?
$15.99.
Only until Monday. So you have another 24 hours to make your present for Christmas at this price. The price is going to go up.
It's going to go up $10. So is that how much it's going to go up?
No.
Oh, you don't want it that much?
No, I still want to make it relatively approachable. I mean, I want to make it,
20?
20, I think, is honest. 20 is honest. At the moment, we have underpriced this book, which you can find on Amazon. Here it is. The Rise and Fall of a Frankist Monster. You see the price is only $15.99. From Monday, it's going to be $20. Okay. Somebody say, I'm going to order it tomorrow. Order maybe a couple of copies because Christmas is approaching and this is a great present. You can spook them out with the cover. The content also is very intelligent, so you're not going to be making things like awkward for yourself because this book, guys, has only 5-star reviews. So please leave your 5-star review if you have read this book and you like it. It will be of great help for us and for the promotion of this book. But let's move on because we have, of course, a very important topic, and it's a topic that very rarely we find discussed on the alternative media. British Israelism is considered pseudo-historic, but it's been extremely influential, guys. This is what I'm going to explain to you today. How was British Israelism born? What is British Israelism? Well, we know that there is a belief that we have basically 12 tribes, 12 tribes, the 12 tribes of Israel, but there is 10 lost tribes. So from the 12 tribes of Israel, we have then 10 lost tribes. Only 2 tribes, so the surviving tribes, are the ones who they are the ones that survive after the Assyrian conquest of the northern kingdom, where Judah and Benjamin and then formed the southern kingdom of Judah, with Levi also retaining identity and scattering. Most modern Jews trace their ancestry to these tribes, the 2 tribes, especially Judah, while the other 10 northern tribes became the 10 lost tribes. Now, there's been a lot of speculation, but also some instrumental use of these lost tribes. And I will explain you what was this instrumental use. Here in my latest book, I explain that there was a gentleman known as Manasseh ben Israel, this guy here, who took on the writings of another guy, a Marrano known as Isaac Lapriere, who was a Huguenot, but in reality was a Jewish convert. The Jewish converts forced into converting in the Iberic Peninsula, either they embraced Christianity as the conversos, or other they practice in secret Judaism as the Marranos. Let's not forget that Benjamin Disraeli, a very important figure also in the 19th century, because people might not know that, but Benjamin Disraeli, who is known as one of the fathers of the modernity British Conservative Party, a very important statesman, was a Sabbatean Frankist who, of course, was strategically positioned as a Christian, even with a very strange position regarding, because he was the first Jewish prime minister, but he had a complex relationship with his Jewish heritage, and he had his Sephardic roots right there in the Marranos of the Iberic Peninsula. So let's say that the Marranos were very inspirational for then Shabbatai Zevi, this crypto form of Judaism, which became the Dogme, and also Jacob Frank with this crypto form of Judaism in the Catholic world. Talking about, somebody is pointing out Lord Balfour. I mean, the Balfour Declaration is a product of all this. And remember, guys, that there will probably have never been even an interest in for the British in fomenting that catastrophe, which was the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, together with the Dogme, the Young Turks, and so on. And then later on, we have, of course, the foundation of Israel, but the foundation of Israel comes after Palestine, that was under the United Kingdom. And all this interest that they had in getting back the Jews to Israel came from the time in which Oliver Cromwell had created a republic for a brief time, and that republic that was known as the English Commonwealth finally reinstated and brought back the Jews in England, thanks also to this guy called Manasseh ben Israel. But it's very important here, bringing back the Jews to England was like the first stage of then bringing them back to Israel. And it took a few centuries for English, first of all, to convince the whole of Great Britain that they were linked in a very particular and close way to Israel. And it wasn't any kind of connection. It was a connection that was made out of blood. It was made out of a direct link that the British Israelites claimed there was. Now, the first guy who brought around this claim was the personal secretary of Oliver Cromwell, John Sadler. In a way, by fomenting this idea that the Scottish people, the English people, the Irish people were the lost tribes of Israel, they kind of quieted down the anti-Semitism that kicked the Jews out of England in the first place. In any case, John Sadler was a member of parliament, town clerk of London, Hebraist, Neoplatonist, but he was a Philo-Semite, and he was the one who convinced Oliver Cromwell to open up to the Jews and to Manasseh ben Israel, who was known as the ambassador of the Jews. These are the very early stages also of what is known as Zionism. And let's not forget the direct involvement of the Puritans, even the ones on the Mayflower. This book from the 1800s, the Anglo-Saxon Race, 9 lectures by Reverend W.H. Paul, are very relevant in this situation. And I would like Christy to read a couple of passages from, a few passages from, because I think it's very interesting for people to understand. Remember, in the 17th century, then 18th century, we see the manifestation of speculative Freemasonry. The basis of speculative Freemasonry became the allegories connected to the Old Testament. And all this connected to an eventual rebuilding of the Temple of Solomon as the main allegory. This is very important. Also, somebody is saying, I wonder, was it a Sabbatean who killed Rabin Isaac Rabin? Absolutely. And in fact, we have a month after the assassination, I think it was the 4th of November, 1995, of Isaac Rabin, we have the inauguration of the Jerusalem Lodge in Jerusalem by an international group of Freemasons. Now, you see, there is a lot of things that Freemasonry tends to hide. If we go, for example, in this website, which is the official website of the Grand Lodge of British Columbia and Yukon, we see that they claim here, in regards to this inauguration here, you see, the Jerusalem Lodge was founded by the Grand Master of Italian Regular Freemasonry, Giuliano Di Bernardo, blah, blah, blah. And at the ceremony launching the Jerusalem Lodge, Di Bernardo declared the rebuilding of the temple is at the center of our studies. Now, this was taken from an article from LaRouche, an article which I think is probably linked to this here. Okay, this is the article. They say in, let me see if I can find the link actually to the article in question, because the Freemasons claim that this encounter in Jerusalem never happened. Well, instead, now I'm going to bring you the actual evidence of it, and this is going to show you once again how the Freemasons at times are not honest, okay? Because we were basically in February 1994, shortly after the signing of the Oslo Accords. There was, of course, then we have here the Masonic control is exerted through the Quota Colonial Lodge of Research. Please read this, Christy.
Lord Northampton, who has been atop the Temple Mount conducting temple studies, candidly has admitted in interviews that he is an adherent of British... Adherent.
I think you say adherent.
Adherent?
Yeah, I think you do. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Or somebody who adheres to something, who joins something, who believes in something.
Of British Israelism, which holds that the British oligarchy has mystical powers because England was colonized by one of the lost tribes of Israel. I think the tradition of the Kabbalah is very strong in England because I think one of the lost tribes came to England.
You're quoting, of course, what Lord Northampton said.
And I think you can spot them quite clearly in old English families. I am sure you can. I know they came to Ireland, then to north of Wales, and then down into England. And then that became some of the oldest families we have.
Now, he ranted on that America too had been colonized.
He ranted on that America too had been colonized by another of the lost tribes. That was all predicted. That one would go to Hyperbia, the land of the north, and one would go across the sea.
Hyperborea, they call it also.
Hyperborea.
Borea.
And so I think that American England got the two lost tribes, and that is why they then, in a very intellectual Jewish way, started to run the world.
Okay, so this, though, was contested by the Freemasons of the Grand Lodge of British Columbia and Yukon, saying there was no evidence. Now I'm going to show you the evidence. So just to show you how these mystifiers and these informants from Freemasonry at times operate, because they claim here, first of all, of course, here they claim that British Israelism as a Christian sectarian movement has never adopted the rebuilding of the temple as an objective. But and then they say no citation is given. But here they say also in regards to the actual, you see, this is part of the article. In December 1995, the Jerusalem Freemasonic Lodge was established adjacent to the Temple Mount in the grotto of King Solomon to work for the rebuilding of Solomon's temple. The lodge works side by side with the on-the-ground networks of Jewish and Christian fundamentalist fanatics to foment a bloody religious war over the control of the Temple Mount. That such a lodge would be founded shortly after the Israel-Palestine peace breakthrough at Oslo and just weeks after the assassination of Israel Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, an architect of that peace, is surely no coincidence. Now, they say in their, debunking here, please read, Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated.
You have to make it bigger.
Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated on November 4, 1995. The founding of Lodge Jerusalem,
The founding of Lodge Jerusalem, number 91, under the regular Grand Lodge of Italy, was celebrated in Jerusalem on December 28th. The lodge was warranted to meet in Italy. It did not meet in Jerusalem. The Grand Lodge of the State of Israel...
That is what they say, they claim.
The Grand Lodge of the State of Israel enjoys mutual recognition with the regular Grand Lodge of Italy. This relationship precludes either Grand Lodge warranting lodges in the other's geographic jurisdiction.
No, but I want to explain. Regardless the lodge founding and Rabin assassination, the coincidence are related events. Okay, but in reality, what the state, which they claim has as a source here a statement by the Grand Master Fabio Venzi in 2001 regarding this whole thing, is not correct, because it's true. There is evidence that this lodge was founded. It's in Italian, unfortunately, and it was founded in Jerusalem. I mean, here I'm going to give to those who are in the chat the link so they can translate it for themselves. Here it is. And this link, which I'm also going to share, says basically, in a very detailed way, says, the idea of this consecration in the grottos of King Solomon in Jerusalem came together when the Grand Lodge of the State of Israel and the Grand Lodge of Italy, regular Grand Lodge of Italy, were brought together by mutual recognition, and already during the official visit of Giuliano Di Bernardo. They claim this happened on the 28th of December 1995, and they give very exact numbers of brothers present. There were 100 brothers that were present from the French jurisdiction, from the Grand Lodge National de France, which is the one that is recognized by England. It says the Grand Master Claude Charbonneau was present, Grand Secretary Yves Trestroblin, and then there was 50 Italian brothers with Giuliano Di Bernardo, all in the grottos under, there, this is a confirmation, and they say it wasn't true. So they say that this is impossible. But we are debunking the Freemasons of the Grand Lodge of Columbia and Yukon.
Okay.
Which is Canada. Is that
yes, Yukon's Canada.
Well, Canadians, you are liars, just so you know. Canadian Freemasons are liars. So, and then it says, to the ceremony, we had also the worshipful master of the Lodge of Paris, the Lodge Jerusalem, Roger Loeb, who is himself a Sabbatean. And then in the consecration happened towards the evening when the incense was spreading around the grottos, all the heads of the delegations consecrated the Lodge Jerusalem number 91 of the Grand Lodge, of the regular Grand Lodge of Italy. Now, what happened was, and I can even show you the link of that is still in existence of this lodge under the Grand Lodge, regular Grand Lodge of Italy. So you can see that they were not, I mean, the lodge, of course, is in Italy now, but it was consecrated in Jerusalem. And you can find it here in the list of lodges. These are all the lodges of the regular Grand Lodge of Italy. You find here, amongst their lodges, they meet in Viale Parioli 98, meeting first and third Thursday of every month in Rome. And this is the lodge. Now, what happened was, though, that because Giuliano Di Bernardo then founded the Academy of the Illuminati with Pier Giorgio Bassi and all those people, there was then some people, this is the announcement, and it actually says all the names of the various people involved. Here it says l'Accademia Internazionale degli Illuminati. I'm going to show the people here. We can see it actually. I'm going to give even more close up so you can see the names involved. When the Espresso is one of the main Italian, how you can say, weekly magazines, published this article, the Freemasons of this lodge apparently rebelled, and some of them went to the Grand Orient of Italy and founded another lodge called Lodge Jerusalem from that. And it says here, you see, Academy Internazionale degli Illuminati. Just for those who think that the Illuminati is pure speculation, this is facts, not fiction. Remember, the books of Leo Zagami, my own personal experience, and Christy was there with me at the Academy of the Illuminati office, so she saw it herself with her own eyes. This is not speculation. This is reality. And here it explains all about, but aside from this, because we're not discussing now the Academy of the Illuminati, what happened was that this lodge in particular, the Lodge of Jerusalem, based on the British Israelism beliefs of these people, then became lodge number 199 of the Grand Orient of Italy, which still is in existence to this day. There is actually even there another link that I can show you from the Grand Orient of Italy. These are the official roster of the lodges of the Grand Orient of Italy. Here we have, and we have also, of course, amongst them, the Jerusalem Lodge. So it's all confirmed. It's not like these things are the stuff of fiction. The roster after came out of the roster when they became now apparently independent as sovereign lodge, and that's why they now call themselves part of this group that is of the independent St. John lodges. Like I repeat, you can go and check all this in the website. This is important because, I repeat, most people claim that we are debating the stuff of conspiracy. No, we are debating the stuff of reality here. And another important element that comes out of this article here in regards to my book also is the fact that religious Zionism is also something that has been involved for a very long time in a process. Here you can see there is actually a name that was given to this guy who I show in my book, apart from the Jerusalem Lodge after the debate. Let me see. Let me show so people can check out. This gentleman here is called the Vladimir Hitler is called because of his Russian Jewish origins. He is the guy who gave birth to revisionist Zionism, but also he was very important in connection to the guy who creates the basis for religious Zionism. Rabbi Hock is called, see, Rabbi Hock and Vladimir Hitler. Please read this, Christy.
Shortly before Prime Minister Rabin was murdered by a Jewish underground assassin, Yigal Amir was associated with the radical West Bank settlers and the Temple Mount crazies. Rabin had described the Jewish fundamentalist fanatics as an errant seed that had nothing to do with Judaism. The Judaism to which Rabin was referring was the Mosaic tradition, carried into the founding of the State of Israel by such followers of Moses Mendelssohn as David
Ben-Gurion, and
Abba Iban, and Rabin's peace partner Shimon Peres.
You
should say it.
Yes, but under the sponsorship of the British Crown, the Club of the Isles, and the British Masonic structures. Now, it's very important, you see, the Jewish fascists of Vladimir Zev Jabotinsky, the founder of the so-called revisionist movement that spawned the Likud bloc. The Likud party of today, Benjamin Netanyahu, is basically inspired by Jabotinsky's work. And the man who Ben-Gurion, the founding father of the State of Israel, referred to as Vladimir Hitler. Now, Koch, not Chuk, Koch. It's important, Christy.
Okay.
No, it's important because Abraham Isaac Koch, this gentleman here, becomes then the guy who
looks like Kook.
This guy is behind the scenes during the Balfour Declaration. He's a Freemason. He's a guy who works hand in hand with the more secular side of Judaism and the labor Zionists of the other side. So they're all brought together. You see, the idea, like I said, of Theodor Herzl, the founder of the Zionist movement, was to bring all these opposites together. That's why in my book here, in my recent book, I talk about unifying the opposites. This is really what brings then the symbol of the Star of David, these two triangles that come together, these opposites that come together. Now, I'm going to discuss Chabad Lubavitch in a second, but Hitler, you should study this book, and then you will understand his Jewishness in relation to the Sabbatean Frankists. If you don't read this book, it's pointless. But let me go back to the very roots of, because then we want to discuss also Gerald Kushner, who has a strong connection to the Chabad movement, who, by the way, the Chabad movement, the Chabad Lubavitch movement, is a branch of Hasidic Judaism. And like I explained in my book here on Epstein, the guys who were mostly infiltrated by the Sabbatean Frankists have always been the Hasidic Jews. And Chabad Lubavitch is socially conservative, you know, no women, rabbis, anti-homosexuality, but then he has a progressive outreach. And Jared Kushner and his wife, who is the daughter of Trump, are the product of that compromise. So
that's messed up.
Let's make it very clear here. Now, going back to, for example, Benjamin Disraeli, he was baptized as a nominal Christian. That happens, of course, in the context of the Sabbatean Frankists. So, going back to the origins, though, of British Israelism, because British Israelism is very important for us guys today in understanding British Israelism. This book is very interesting.
Where's
Also,
that?
the Great Seal of the United States behind this book. If you can see it,
I saw it.
watch.
Yeah.
And then you have this. But there is a passage which I would like you to read, Christy, which is very important, I think, for people to realize certain implications. Now, we all know this symbol, which is the national standard of Britain. You have the unicorn and the lion. Lion is very much present in the symbology of Britain. I myself, lion and the unicorn. I myself, I'm a lion family member, the family of the Queen Mother of England, who they claimed was descending from King David, because they were trying to embrace British Israelism also with Scotland. Please read the royal standard here, so we can understand this, how they promoted British Islam, because it was about promoting British Islam during the whole course of the 19th century, to then arrive with the Balfour Declaration, and then arrive with the acceptance of a state of Israel with a special relationship with Great Britain. Please.
The royal standard. All the great empires or kingdoms that have passed across the stage of this world's history had their national standards. Israel received from God a royal standard or coat of arms, and that standard is rightfully claimed to be the royal standard of Britain. The Syrians had a bull, the Macedonians the goat, Persia the sun, Turkey the moon or crescent, Austria and Russia the double-headed vulture, France the eagle, etc. Look at the national standard of Britain, and then they show that picture.
Yes.
This is the coat of arms affixed to every document proceeding from the supreme authorities of every British possession, an emblem commanding and obtaining respect from every British subject, and which, displayed on the breasts of their heroic kings, has struck terror and dismay to their enemies. This book is very delicate.
Yes. It's an original book.
Okay, I'm being careful.
Please, because it's an original book from the 18th century.
Okay, I'm getting it.
Okay.
Battlefield. Oh, goodness. Let us proceed to analyze this time-honored symbol of this great nation.
So the symbol of the great nation of Britain is being analyzed in this book that promotes British Israelism. Please.
On the first quarter, there are 3 lions. On the second, the Scotch lion. On the third, the harp that was taken from Mount Zion to Tara, England. And on the fourth quarter, 3 more lions. Then a lion and a unicorn rampant. And above all, the crowned lion standing on a crown. The crowned lion standing on a crown. Only 9 lions and a unicorn and a harp. How came all these lions here? The richly endowed, strangely gifted Israel, when leaning upon his staff, gave us the origin of all heraldry. As he blessed his sons, he said, Genesis, I don't know what that is,
Genesis. That's
okay.
the passage in Genesis in the Bible.
Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, now art gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, and an old lion who shall rouse him up. And an old lion who shall rouse him up.
The Lion of Judah
has been the time-honored symbol of Judah ever since. In all lands, the old Lion of Judah.
So this symbol that, like we saw, the Lion of Judah is present all over the symbols of Great Britain. And it is very important because there are, you have it also, of course, included in in my own family symbol of the lion family. The heraldic symbols of Great Britain are filled with the lions. And it's important for me to explain to you this connection with British Israelism, because undoubtedly it's also connected with British Freemasonry, with English speculative Freemasonry, where we see that in the first 3 degrees, and then we have also the Royal Arch connected to so much with Judaism. But it was in the 19th century that the British Israelism really erupts, let's say, becomes so relevant, so important We have the book by John Wilson from 1840, Are Israelitish Origins? Then from 1870 onwards, we have numerous independent British Israelite organizations. We have a number of them, and also they bring these British Israelite organizations in America, in the United States. Imagine this. At one point, they say there were 2 million people in America and in Great Britain who believed in British Israelism. Now, it's very interesting that the Cardinal John Henry Newman, who has been nominated by Pope Leo Saint very recently, we have actually mentioned him because he was also controversial in regards to his alleged homosexual relationship with this guy that was pretty obvious that he was homosexual. Anyway, John Henry Newman was originally an Anglican priest. He became a Catholic priest. He became then a cardinal, and he's now a saint of the Catholic Church. Why I'm talking about him? Because he warned about British Israelism. He says he actually left the Anglican Church and joined the Roman Catholic Church, saying that it would take over the Church of England, this belief. He was asked why, when he was asked why he had left the Church of England, Cardinal John Henry Newman said that the danger came from British Israelism. I find that quite indicative, also with Pope Leo nominating him as saint. I think it's quite indicative, quite a strong signal. In the late 19th century, we had Edward Hine, Edward Weller Bird, and also Herbert Halderschmidt, who developed the British Israelite movement. Like I said, there were so many that in the 1906 edition of the Jewish Encyclopedia, they said that their number were 2 million. Now, it didn't end up there. There was a lot of influential people behind these organizations, influential people, aristocrats that backed, they were backing this whole thing. David Barron, in the History of the 10 Lost Tribes sites, claims identifying Hine himself with the deliverer announcing Romans. So, I mean, these people at times were also taking their own thing to another level. He stated, are the British people identical with the lost 10 tribes of Israel? I'm quoting here David Barron. And is the nation by the identity being led to glory? Is these things are so? Where is the deliverer? He must have already come out of Zion. He must be doing his great work. He must be amongst us. So remember, guys, the Anglo-Saxons in particular thought of themselves as invincible because of this connection with Israel. I want to, of course, put here in here on top of the screen a way in which you can support us if you like our work. Like I always said, we broadcast once a week because that's what we can manage at the moment with the limited sponsorship we have. But we want to thank those people who really are helping our show. This week, Christy, who are the sponsors?
This month, well,
this month, yes.
Yeah.
Also. This week,
Daniel and Malgus and the people that bought the books.
Yes, the books you will not. I mean, the books are something that you will not regret because they're filled up with very relevant, important information that you can't find anywhere else. I want to also.
I always felt just like I don't know. Every book that I read of yours and edited was just like enlightenment. It was just like I felt knowledge and I felt really peaceful when I had it. So
thank you, Christy. Now, one other important element in British Israelism was to put together different traditions. So now, like for example, in the fourth lecture given by Reverend Paul in this book, he talks about Druidism, a compound of Judaism and Baalism. Now, I want Christy to read this passage because here he's evidently drawing a parallel between the Hebrew festivities, Passover, and so on, and the Druids here.
From where to where?
I would say that from here, this paragraph onwards.
The Hebrews had 3 great festivals which they regularly observed, namely the Passover, Pentecost, and the Feast of Tabernacles. So the Druids held 3 great annual festivals corresponding in time exactly to the great annual festivals established among the Hebrews. Sorry. Meeting of less note were held among the Druids at the time of the new moon, as in the days of Israel's glory, when the command was issued. Blow up the glory when the command was issued. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this is a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob.
So here you see, you have basically an attempt to connect, obviously, Druidism, which is considered the ancestral religion of the British Isles. The pyramids are with the ancient Egyptian religion, what we see in the Middle East. But then for the British Isles, we have Stonehenge, the Druids, their annual rituals, and to connect them also with the Jews, it's very interesting. Now, Gerald Massey was not, like I said, an adherent to British Israelism, but the fact that he made the British Isles and all the British language connected with the ancient Egyptian, and at the same time he claimed that the Jews came from ancient Egypt, meant that he had similar beliefs in the Book of the Beginnings. But let me explain a little bit more to our viewers. These are not the things that happen once upon a time. In my book, Volume 1 of my Confessions, I explain how the Rosicrucians, and these are the ones that, contemporary Rosicrucians in London, still believe in British Israelism. Please read this paragraph to show to our viewers what I'm saying.
We, the Fraters of Soros of the true Rose and Cross, herewith proclaim the birth of a new order, so that Christianity may yet fulfill its manifest destiny, and the Rosicrucian tradition may be restored to its original Christian purity, the Order of the Rose and Cross. Our order teaches that true Christianity is not merely a question of belief, but also one of racial karma.
Wait and ponder on the words that now Chris is going to read.
After the invasion of the Kingdom of Israel, the Assyrians scattered the indigenous population. They resettled in the Caucasus Mountains and later drifted into Europe. We believe that the Anglo-Saxon and associated Indo-European cultures are the spiritual and literal descendants of these lost 10 tribes of Israel, representing God's chosen people as mentioned in the Old Testament.
So, they are claiming that they are believers in British Israelism. So that is very clear here. And it's clear in all the writings of British Israelism. There is almost a delusion. At one point, they create the British Israel World Foundation. The British Israel World Foundation is an organization in the United Kingdom that promotes British Israelism, the historical belief that the people of the British Isles are direct descendants of the lost tribes of ancient Israel. The group was founded in London on July 3rd, 1919, although its roots can be traced to the 19th century. Now, the main patron was the last surviving grandchild of Queen Victoria, who died in 1981 and was, until 1981, so quite recently, the patron of this organization. So we are talking about the very elite of the elite. I'm not talking about a peasant here. And one of his founders, instead, on this side of the world, was Reuben H. Sawyer, who was the leader of the Oregon Ku Klux Klan.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
So
isn't that
now
just,
we start going also into that element, because you see, there is everything and the contrary of everything here. Let me explain you. Now, we are the only ones, to my knowledge, to be discussing British Israelism, who still to this day is very influential. Imagine that from 1924, the organization, the British Israel World Federation, had a permanent office in Buckingham Palace. It was only moved in 1990 to Putney on the Thames, but since 2003 has been near Bishop Anglo in County Durham. I mean, if people, I mean, this is not conspiracy. This is facts. They have an office in Buckingham Palace. So, okay, the central tenets of British Israelism have been with us for a very long time, guys, and they have been very much connected to the elite. Only the patrons of this organization should make you understand. Princess Alice, the Countess, Right Honorable the Countess Dowager of Radnor, the Duke of Buccleuch, Right Honorable Lord Gisborough, Right Honorable Lord St. John of Baslow, and all these British aristocrats. And I can give you guys, I mean, I come from the British aristocracy. And I think Christy herself, if she could, she would tell you a few stories that she witnessed with her own eyes of these very close connections that we have with Jewish people, including descendants of very important prophets, like Maggie, for example. No? She doesn't really like Maggie too much. But in any case, this connection was there. And who was the brother of Maggie?
He's an asshole, and I
Well,
can't
well,
stand
he's
him.
dead now.
He
He's no
called
longer-
my dog an it.
Okay, but he was also the best friend of King Charles,
Well,
future
he's
King Charles,
he
Prince
was
Charles.
such a jerk.
He was such a jerk.
I stormed out of the room.
Okay.
They were trying to take my picture without my permission. I said, "You can't take my picture," and I got up and I left. You have to ask somebody's permission if you're just going to pull out a camera and take a picture.
Okay, but just so for those people who think here we are talking about conspiracy, no, here we're talking about conspiracy facts, experiences, direct experiences. So people, I don't think, I mean, this show, at the moment, we have, 200 people.
That's a lot.
For us. We should
That's a
we should have
lot,
2,000
though.
people.
But I don't expect it anymore. I'm just grateful for these people here
But
that
how
are
is it
smart enough to
possible?
come here.
Yeah.
It's possible because this world is full of donkeys. That's why everybody listens to bullshit, believes bullshit,
Yeah.
and they are bullshit. So that's it. You want to hear bullshit all the time and believe it, you end up being bullshit. So that's why we're the bullshit busters. You should watch every week.
Okay, so let me read a passage also from the Anglo-Israel, the Saxon race, from Reverend W.H. Paul, The Isles and the Wastes.
Oh, this book. Israel, I'm going to be careful. I'm being careful.
Okay.
Israel was to possess an extensive gentile empire and to possess the desolate or unoccupied lands and territories. Isaiah, for thou shalt break forth on the right hand and on the left, and thy seed shall inherit the Gentiles and make the desolate cities to be inhabited. Isaiah. Listen, O isles, unto me, and hearken, ye people from afar. Thus saith the Lord, in an acceptable time had I heard thee, and in a day of salvation have I helped thee. And I will preserve thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people to establish the earth, to cause thee inherit the desolate heritages. Thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standard to the people. And thy shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders.
Thank you so much, Christy, for reading us that passage, which is also very relevant. We are, of course, going through this very old book that is in precarious condition. But no, this is very important, this book, because this book, in a way, describes what the British Israelite lobby wanted in the 19th century English people or American people to believe. And to believe that they were particularly close. I mean, I remember also a book that was, I had the PDF somewhere, that also talked about the alleged roots of all the Scottish nobility. And that's where I guess they also claim, that the Lion family of Lord and Lady Strathmore, the family, my family basically was connected somehow to the Davidic lineage. Though these things at the end have been debunked, but let's not forget that there was even in Canada, Canadian-British Israel Association. So, I mean, even Canada has...
But they're so British up there.
Yeah, you see, and it's known as to coin the term. So, I mean, it was founded by a guy in the city of Winnipeg.
Didn't we escape this baloney? I mean, we're supposed to have like 1776 and escape all of it.
But instead, the crazy thing is that here in America, the contemporary British Israelites are to be found within the so-called white supremacists, between those. I mean. Going back to England, today we still have, I mean, in 1968, one source estimated there were between 3,000 to 5,000 British Israelites in Britain. And there were a few small Pentecostal churches that taught British Israelism in their churches. So the key component of British Israelism is its representation of the migration of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. And at times this became this whole, the British throne seen as a continuation of the Davidic throne, which is quite interesting because, so very interesting, I think, in that sense. And then you have, of course, Britain and the United States are the inheritors of Jacob's birthright in their view, which is also a commonly held British Israel doctrine is that they believe that the tribe of Ephraim and the tribe of Manasseh can be identified as modern-day Britain and the United States of America. Now, like I said, there is also links to modern contemporary right-wing groups, but there is also British Israelism connected to the Latter-day Saint movement. Clearly, the British Israelites have influenced the Mormons that we have discussed in the past, Pentecostalism, and so it's very interesting, all these links that we see with British Israelism that then, of course, somehow become also connected to Christian Zionism. So I hope that today this show somehow brought you some interesting elements. So we read a lot of this book here, Anglo-Israel, as you can see, that was published also in Toronto in 1879. I think we have another edition, but it's important for a number of reasons. Today, everybody's talking about the power of Israel over the United States, over the rest of the Western world. How we got to this point, it was a slow brainwashing effort that also created the very acceptance of a state of Israel. As I explained in my latest book, Jews didn't want to necessarily go back to Israel. They were almost forced into going back to Israel. The transfer agreement, like Edwin Black discussed, is a very important element of this. But who did the introduction for Edwin Black? And here we have the introduction for this book by Abram H. Foxman, who for many years was the leading figure of the Anti-Defamation League. Now, it's very important, this element, because if we go into my friends Ferruccio Pinotti, Fratelli d'Italia, we discover that this guy, Abram H. Foxman, was a co-founding member of a lodge established in Switzerland with Giuliano Di Bernardo, who later will establish in 1995 the Jerusalem Lodge based on the tenets of it. So it's all connected.
It really is all connected.
It's all connected.
And it's all corrupted.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed this show today.
Hey, that's my cookbook.
And if you want to have some great food, also remember the Zagami Family Cookbook, authentic Italian cooking. You can find it on Amazon together with also Christie's Confessions of an Illuminati Princess, Volume 1 and 2, and of course the rest of my books. Today, the subject of today was based, of course, and you can find on the last chapter of this book, The Rise and Fall of a Frankist Monster. I hope you enjoyed this show, Christy. We are going to have our pizza dance.
And a pizza.
And of course, a pizza. The dots are connecting. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad that you seem to have appreciated today's show.
I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you, love you, love you. Thanks for being here.
This, of course, doesn't mean that we are in any way, shape, or form anti-Semitic or against what is now today the state of Israel, which is a reality, which unfortunately people don't understand at times. It was forced by Freemasonry and all these people working with the Sabbatean Frankists and all these people that in a way or in another forced the Jewish people to go back there. So what are you going to do now? You're going to kick them out from the river to the sea. That's stupid. There needs to be a coexistence, but that's also not in the intentions of these people. But the most crazy stuff is Jared Kushner, because Jared Kushner is now going to become the governor of Gaza with Tony Blair.
What?
Okay.
What? That is what?
Yeah.
That is so messed up.
That's insane.
What?
Okay, so Gaza is nowadays
what a bunch of dictators.
a relic.
It's so messed up.
What they're gonna do? Some say King Chucky, grandmother Elizabeth was lion. Any family connection? Right? Well, lion is my family. So the Queen Mother was the cousin of my grandfather. So of course, there is a family connection. Read my books and learn about it. Okay, but what is important? Tony Blair, a guy who was on the Epstein Black Book, because he was there on the Epstein Black Book. Tony Blair, together with Jared Kushner, who is a father, who himself is a follower of Chabad Lubavitch. I mean,
they don't have any power over us. They can say what they want and try to do what they want, but in the end, it's God that has the power. God is the one in control. So, I mean, all of this crap that they've manifested for the end times, it's just that. So we just got to be patient and wait.
Imagine that Jared Kushner and his wife Ivanka live in proximity to a Chabad synagogue in Washington, D.C. They actually live close to it. During his time as a student, Kushner was a regular at the Harvard Chabad. He provided financial support for them, attended events. The Kushner Family Foundation has made significant donations to various Chabad institutions. And I can assure you guys, from our own personal experience, so me and Christy, the people from Chabad that we experience are New Agers, black magicians.
Yes,
and
it's you. You know who
hypocrites,
you are. You know who you are if you're watching this in the shadows. You know who you are.
Yeah. So we have direct experiences before we talk. We don't just talk. We have a direct experience with what I write in my books, or even Christy writes in her books. And it was a negative experience. I mean, the guy was portraying himself to be a Jewish person, but in reality, he was involved with shamanism, witchcraft, and whatnot. So, New Age. Well,
not a good person at all.
We need to dwell more into certain topics, and next week we will prepare another excellent show, so be again with us next week. And in the meantime, we're gonna Benjamin Netanyahu, by the way, was his first financer was Lauder from Estee Lauder, a guy who was a member of the mega group, the Jewish study group, which was helping out Jeffrey Epstein. So they are all in it together. Hallelujah.
In that time, our world has taken so many steps in the wrong direction.
Raise it up.
Raise it up. Raise it up.
You need to raise the spirit.
Raise the spirit.
Raise it up. Raise it up. Raise it up.
The negative utopia, science, technology, social organization, dehumanization. In the negative utopia, science, technology, social organization. Social organization, dehumanization. Technology, social organization.